My wife went pale and her lover nearly choked when their spicy video played at the party. The party was in full swing when the unthinkable happened. Laughter and chatter filled the room until the screen lit up. Gasps erupted as the video played. Right there, in high definition, was my wife, Hannah, tangled in a moment she thought would stay hidden forever. "Turn it off. I can't watch this," she shrieked, her face drained of all color. I didn't budge. Instead, I smirked and queued up the next clip. This time, it wasn't just Ethan. Another man. More betrayal. Silence hung in the air, thick with shock. And then, slow clapping broke through the tension. It was the wife of the assistant principal. Her lips curled into a smirk. Well, cheats deceiving cheats, she mused. This is priceless. Hannah thought she had fooled me. She thought her secret was safe. But tonight, there was no more hiding. The truth was laid bare for everyone to see, and there was no coming back from it. The signs were always there. Looking back, I should have seen it sooner. The late nights at work. The sudden lack of intimacy. The way she guarded her phone like it contained national secrets. But I ignored the signs. I had always believed that trust was the foundation of marriage. I was raised to think that if you started doubting your spouse, you had already lost. That was before I found out my wife had been making a fool out of me. Hannah and I had been married for 7 years. We had what I thought was a solid life together. I worked in IT security. She managed high-profile events. We were financially stable, had a great social circle, and were known for hosting some of the best parties in town. And ironically, it was one of those very parties that became the stage for her downfall. The betrayal. It started as a gut feeling. You know that unsettling sensation when something just doesn't feel right? Hannah had been distant for months, but the real red flag was her change in behavior. She had stopped arguing with me. That might sound like a good thing, but hear me out. Before, we'd bicker over little things. Who forgot to take out the trash, which restaurant to go to, whether or not we should get a dog. Then one day, she just stopped. She didn't care when I forgot our dinner plans. Didn't comment when I splurged on a new gaming setup. She had checked out of our marriage. And that's when I knew something was seriously wrong. So, I did what any IT professional with suspicion would do. I started digging. Using my skills, I recovered her deleted texts, accessed her cloud storage, tracked her location history, and even checked her Uber receipts. What I found shattered me. Conversations between her and a man named Ethan, talking about the thrill of sneaking around. Messages where she mocked me, how dull I was, how clueless. And worst of all, she wasn't just cheating with Ethan. There was another man. 2 affairs. 2 different lovers. My wife wasn't just unfaithful. She was a serial cheater, laughing at me behind my back. For a week, I sat with that truth. The humiliation, the rage, the sheer violation of my trust. I could have confronted her immediately. But what would that accomplish? A fight? Fake tears? Weak excuses? No, that wasn't enough. I wanted her world to crumble. The perfect revenge. Hannah had always been obsessed with social status. She thrived on admiration, on being envied. Our friends were high-status couples, the kind of people she desperately wanted to impress. So I devised a plan. I spent the next 2 weeks gathering every piece of evidence. I hacked into her cloud drive and retrieved everything: messages, voice notes, location history, and the most damning evidence of all, her private videos with both of her lovers. Then I sent out the party invitations. The night everything fell apart. Hannah was in her element that evening, dazzling in a red dress, laughing and charming the guests, completely unaware of the storm about to hit. Ethan was there too. I watched him closely, my drink in hand, waiting for the moment. And then the second lover arrived. A man she never thought would be in the same room as Ethan. That's when the real show began. I had never met her before, but the real shocker? She wasn't alone. His wife was with him. Oh! This was about to be legendary. The guests were gathered in the living room, glasses in hand, lost in conversation. The energy was light, carefree, completely unaware of the chaos about to unfold. I picked up the microphone, my voice steady. "Everyone, I'd like to take a moment to appreciate my wonderful wife, Hannah, for putting together such a beautiful evening. She smiled, glowing with pride, completely oblivious. But more than that, I continued, turning toward the massive TV screen. I want to celebrate what an adventurous and passionate woman she is. With a single click, the screen came to life, and there she was, completely exposed. The video played in stunning high definition, Hannah writhing beneath Ethan, her voice echoing shamelessly through the speakers as she moaned his name. Silence. Then chaos. Hannah went pale as if all the blood had drained from her body. Ethan nearly choked on his drink. The guests gasped. Some turned away in horror. Others stood frozen, unable to look away. And just when it couldn't get worse, the second clip started. A different man. The same betrayal. Hannah let out a strangled scream. Turn it off. Please turn it off. But I wasn't done. Her voice, once meant only for secret lovers, now filled the room like a haunting melody, a funeral dirge for our marriage. People covered their mouths, stunned. Some guests shifted awkwardly, unsure whether to look at Hannah or the screen broadcasting her humiliation. Then, the second twist of the night, as the screen revealed the face of her other lover, a woman I had never seen before stepped forward. She had striking auburn hair, sharp cheekbones, and eyes burning with barely contained fury. But instead of screaming, she did something none of us expected. She clapped. Slow, deliberate. Clap, clap, clap. All eyes turned to her as she shook her head with a smirk. This, she said with a dark chuckle, is priceless. Her gaze locked onto Hannah, amusement flickering in her eyes. Cheaters deceiving cheaters. You really thought you were clever, didn't you? Sleeping with my husband while your little plaything was off screwing someone else. Hannah spun around, her expression morphing from shock to absolute horror. What? She breathed. I smiled. It was time for the third and final twist. I turned to man on the screen, Hannah's second affair partner. I had done my homework, and just days before the party, I confirmed that he was married. His name was Ryan, and at that moment, he was sweating bullets. His wife, let's call her Sophia, folded her arms, her lips curling in a venomous smirk. Oh, Ryan, she purred. You didn't tell her, did you? Hannah's panic gaze darted between Ryan and Sophia, searching for some kind of escape. Sophia tilted her head. That's right, sweetheart. You weren't his one and only. You were just another side piece in his little collection. Hannah stumbled backward, her breath coming in shallow gasps. Ryan grabbed Sophia's wrist. We'll talk about this at home. She yanked her arm away, fire in her eyes. Oh, we'll talk about, all right, in divorce court. Boom. Another relationship obliterated in real time. The room buzzed with hushed whispers and murmurs of disbelief. Some guests tried to process what they had just witnessed. Others recorded every second on their phones, ensuring this moment would live on far beyond this night. Hannah stood trembling, her gaze darting frantically between Ryan, Sophia, and me, as if desperately searching for a way out. No escape, no mercy. Hannah's eyes darted around the room, desperate for an escape, but there was none. With nowhere else to turn, she looked at Ethan, her original affair partner, the man she had been so sure of, the one she thought would stand by her. But Ethan, he was already stepping away. Panic seeped into her voice as she reached for him. Babe, you believe me, don't you? Ethan's expression was pure disgust. His hands went up defensively. Are you out of your mind? I had no clue you were screwing another guy. Hannah gasped, her voice trembling. You don't mean that. Oh, I do. His tone was ice cold as he took another step back. I was an idiot for falling for you once, but I'm not that stupid. She lunged for him, but he sidestepped her easily, shaking his head. You know what? Screw this. Then Ethan turned to me, exhaling sharply. I see it now. You set this whole thing up, didn't you? I simply shrugged. I didn't have to do anything. The truth exposed itself. Ethan clenched his jaw before turning back to Hannah one last time. Lose my number. And just like that, he was gone. Hannah's knees buckled, and she crumpled to the floor, sobbing. In just 15 minutes, Her entire world had imploded. Her marriage, gone. Her lovers, gone. Her reputation, obliterated. And I wasn't done yet. I took a slow sip of my drink, savoring the moment before glancing down at my soon-to-be ex-wife. "Oh, and by the way," I said casually, "I've already filed for divorce." Her tear-streaked face snapped up, her expression twisting into sheer horror. "You what?" I smirked. "Filed yesterday. And thanks to all this evidence, I'm getting full control of our assets." Her eyes widened in raw panic. "Wait, we can fix this. I made a mistake." I laughed. A real laugh. "A mistake?" My voice turned cold. "No, Hannah. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying something you don't mean in a fight." I leaned in slightly. "You didn't just make a mistake. You made a series of deliberate choices. And now you're facing the consequences." She tried to stand, her hands trembling as she reached for me. "But I love you. Please." I stepped back. "No, you love yourself. And that's the only person who'll ever stand by you now." She let out a piercing scream as I turned my back and walked away. The party was over. And so was she. The aftermath. Hannah lost everything in the divorce. No house. No assets. No dignity. Ethan completely ghosted her, blocked on everything. Ryan's wife, Sophia, took him to the cleaners in court. As for me, I moved on. Months later, a mutual friend mentioned that Hannah was still struggling, a complete social outcast. No one wanted anything to do with her. The shame was too much, and eventually, she packed up and moved out of state. And me? I thrived. I met someone new, someone who actually respected me, someone who knew what loyalty meant. And every now and then, I think back to that party, the moment Hannah's entire world came crashing down. And I smile, because in the end, she deserved every second of it. The lesson? Cheaters always think they're smarter than the people they betray. But sooner or later, they get caught. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it destroys. And revenge? Best served cold. Preferably in front of an audience